Hi everyone, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. Today's video concept is essentially me trying to right my wrongs regarding the Goodreads Choice Awards because, spoiler alert, I've actually already gone through and looked at the nominees, so this isn't a reaction video, but what I realized to my great shame is that I have literally read 0 of them, like not a singular book on that list in any of the genres. I've not read a single one. So that is basically the jumping off point for the concept of this video, is that what I really want to do is I want to go through the awards nominees with you and I want to build a TBR from them. Because while I hadn't read any of the nominees, what I did realize while I was going through the lists is that I own quite a few of them. They've been books that I've been interested in and excited for this year that I have purchased, and I have them on my shelves. I just haven't read them yet. And low-key, like, I have read almost 10 2023 releases this year, so it's not as if I'm completely slacking on the new books, but there were a couple that I was genuinely surprised that were not nominated, like Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead and The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And then the fantasy that I've read that is released in 2023, I guess is just not quite popular enough to make these lists. So, I am still kind of very disappointed that I haven't read a single one of them, but yeah, that's the goal of this video. Is I want to go through, I want to see all of the books that I own, and then from there I think we can create a TBR together where I may be able to fit some of these books in by the end of the year. So with that being said, I am just going to click on over to Goodreads now and we will go through these nominees together. So, going back through the best books of 2023, I am just going to go category by category and I'm going to pull some books that I do own. We're not going to get into any books that I'm interested in but don't own. And I don't remember which categories they're all in, so I'm just going to quickly go through some of these because, let's be honest, I'm sure you've seen other reaction videos and I'm sure that you've at least had a first pass on what these nominees are. So, for Best Fiction, Shark Heart is a book that I'm interested in for sure, but I do not own it. And actually, Wellness I'm interested in as well. I don't know that I own any of the fiction nominees. Yeah, so basically the only one that I sort of own is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. That is definitely also the other one that I'm the most interested in, but the thing about Yellowface is that the reason I say I sort of own it is because Ben owns it, so eventually it will come here to me, but it currently is not in my possession. So we can't really build a TBR with that. But moving on to historical fiction, another genre that I like, but I am by no means keeping up with new releases in this genre. And yeah, with that said, I really don't think that I own any of these. And I don't. However, I do think that the cover for The Covenant of Water is really gorgeous, and I really have no idea what this book is even about, but maybe I'll just put that on my want to read list just in case, and I can circle back to it later, because I'm a sucker for a gorgeous cover, if there's one thing about me. So mystery and thriller is the first category where I really feel like I would like to have read a few of the books in this category because I've recently become a little bit more of a mystery and thriller girly. I've always liked mysteries, but I haven't been huge into thrillers until more recently. So a couple of them here. All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby is a book that I own, so that will go on the pile. And then The Only One Left by Riley Sager is a book that I'm interested in, but I actually, I bought that as a gift for someone, so while I bought it, I don't have it. And I think that we're gonna end up with All the Sinners Bleed as the only thriller that I actually own. So we are just gonna grab that and put that on the pile there, or well, that will be the start of the pile. Then next up we have romance, and I definitely own some of these, but the reason that I am a little bit in favor of the romance category here is that I find romance books very easy to read and very easy to read quickly. So when we're talking about building a TBR where I could fit some of these in before the end of the year, I definitely feel like romance is going to be one where I genuinely can like fit some of them in. They're not a huge commitment in that sense. So first up, we have a Happy Place that I own. Where is it? It's literally like right down there behind my butt. So I'll grab that after. But we have Happy Place. I don't own any of the others that I can see on the screen right now. But if we go to the next one, oh, okay, so Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I don't have that one, but I do have The Bodyguard. So, whoops. And then Love Theoretically, I don't think, no, I have Love on the Brain. See, I think I'm like one Allie Hazelwood book behind. However, I do have Meet Me at the Lake and I have Wildfire as well. So we'll just quickly pause and I will grab those three. Next up, we have Romantasy. So this, I'm actually really excited that this gets its own category because I am not in any way like disparaging fantasy that has a lot of romance in it, but I do think that just for people's interests and people like voting in regards to like wanting a book that they really love to win, I honestly think it's in everyone's best interest to separate fantasy romance from like more traditional fantasy, because I think that people who aren't into romance in their fantasy really don't like seeing a book that has like sweeping popularity in the romantasy category run away with the fantasy category just because it has wider appeal. And it's definitely not a bad thing that it has wider appeal, but I just think it's nice to have these books on more of an even playing field with each other. Although to be fair, I think everybody knows that Fourth Wing is going to run away with this, but suffice it to say, I actually think it's really cool that they added a romantasy category. Now, it sucks that it came at the expense of like the graphic novels and poetry and middle grade categories, but Goodreads just can't seem to do something good without also doing something bad at the same time. I don't know what that's about, but I'm pretty sure that I have not read a single one of, or sorry, of course I haven't read a single one of them. We already established that. What I meant to say was I'm pretty sure I don't own a single one of the fantasy romances. And just scrolling through, I see that I am correct about that. So we're not going to have any of the romantasies featured in this TBR, but we can move on to fantasy. Okay, so just from this top row, Tress of the Emerald Sea is another book where we have a case of I sort of own it because once again, Ben has it, and eventually when we merge our collections, I will have access to Tress, but currently I do not. However, when we get to the next row down, I do have both The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi and Bookshops and Bone Dust on my shelves. So I can just grab those, and Bookshops and Bone Dust is right here. Oh my god, I forgot to take the sticker off of this. Jesus, I don't even know who I am. Okay, I'm gonna take those off after. Clearly, I was just so excited to rearrange my bookshelves and get all the books on there because, God, I really, really hate stickers, so I don't know how that happened. Okay, next, one more row down, we have Encyclopedia of Fairies is the only one that I own on this row, which is right behind me here. Whoops. Oh no. Good God, that was harder than it should have been. Then is this the last? Oh no, there's two more. Okay. So this row, just as a collective from these two rows, I really want to read The Will of the Many, but I don't own that one. I'm actually hoping that it will come out in paperback because I think I would like it in paperback. But the only one from these two that I own is Starling House. And this is an interesting one for me because I read A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow and I didn't like it. But just based on the synopsis and descriptions of Starling House, I feel like I could like it. And I just think that the cover is absolutely gorgeous. And so I'm not gonna lie, that pulled me to it a little bit as well. But I did buy this one and I am really hoping for a win. So that one I also think is like right behind my head. Oh, over here. Right behind my back. Okay, Starling House. Add it to the pile. See, we're already at like 8 books that I own that I haven't read from these nominees. So it's not like your girl's not interested in them. I am. Now, science fiction, I don't think is gonna have any for me. Because I just remember from when I reviewed this the first time, I honestly hadn't heard of a bunch of these, and I'm not really a sci-fi girly anyway. Actually, funnily enough, I saw Bridge at Marshall's / Home Sense today, which is interesting that they would be selling a book like that. And then Chain Gang All-Stars is another one that actually sounded pretty cool, but on the whole, just not really a sci-fi girly. It's something that maybe in the future I would like to read more of, but then every time I try and get myself to actually read more of it, I'm kind of like, but I could read fantasy though. Okay, so let's move on to the horror category. Now, I do feel like there could be some wins in the horror books, but out of these first 2 rows here, the only book of these that I actually do own is Vampires of El Norte, so I will just grab that. And the reason for me purchasing that is that I did read The Hacienda in October and I loved it. So I really wanted to get to her other newer release and I'm excited for that one. And then if we go 1 more row, actually let's go 2 more because why not? So just looking at these 2 rows, the 2 books that I own are Don't Fear the Reaper and Silver Nitrate. So even though I own Don't Fear the Reaper, I don't think I'm quite ready for those vibes right now. I think that's something that I could perhaps read like in the new year. So I'm actually gonna leave that one out of the pile just because like this whole thing is kind of going to be like a mood reading exercise, and I don't think I'm ready for Don't Fear the Reaper just yet. However, Silver Nitrate I will pull and add to the pile. And then is that it? Oh no. Oh, we have more. Okay. So in this last row, I actually do own Rouge and Dead 11 as well. But since I just read Bunny, I'm gonna have another similar situation where I don't know if I'm ready for Rouge just yet. However, I will pull Dead 11 because I think that that one could be fun. So now if we do a recount, we're at 3, 6, 9, 11 books that I own. Okay, young adult, fantasy, and science fiction. I don't think I'm gonna own any of these. I actually almost bought A Study in Drowning a couple of times, but I think that's one where I'll just wait and maybe at some point in the future I'll buy that. But something made me stop each time I pulled it off the shelf. I was like, you know what, this can wait. But just scrolling through these, nothing ringing a bell really. Or, well, there are things that I recognize, but seeing as I don't read a ton of young adult, I don't have many of them. The one, though, that I do have is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which is up here on the top shelf. Okay, young adult fiction. Something tells me that I do own one of these, but I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is because I don't read a lot of YA as it is, and then when it's YA general fiction, I really probably don't read it. So yeah, these first 2 rows, I definitely don't have anything. The next, oh, okay. This is what I was thinking of. So I do have Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert, which is right here. And then don't think I'm gonna have anything else. Yeah, no, that was it. That was the one I was thinking of. Now we move to debut novel. I think this is a really interesting category too, just to see which of these are debut novels and just kind of like acknowledging that there are some really great books that are written as debuts and it's super impressive, but I don't think I have any of these. So it doesn't look like it. Moving on to nonfiction. We're kind of like, at this point, we're moving out of the categories where I actually think I've read anything, and into ones where I probably haven't. But we have a look anyway. Nothing really ringing a bell here. Although there was one that I saw. Maybe it's not in nonfiction. Maybe it's in another category. But there was one I saw that I thought I might have been interested in. Now, memoirs, I really haven't read any memoirs this year. I do actually like memoirs though. And I think that You Could Make This Place Beautiful is the one that I saw that I thought I was interested in because this is by a poet and I thought that it could be really beautifully written. I'll add that to my want to read. But regardless, I don't own any of these. Oh, The Woman in Me by Britney Spears is another one that I definitely think I would be interested in. But then again, it's another one of those things where I'm not going to be like on trend with it. And I've seen spoilers for the book as well. But I do think that that would be a really cool read. History and biography. Maybe this is where I saw... Oh, yes. Okay, so the book I thought that I would be interested in was Pathogenesis, A History of the World in 8 Plagues. So I think this is just because it's like science-y. This is the reason why I'm interested in this. I'm not a big history girly, although, like, to be fair, I will definitely find it interesting if it is history framed through the lens of something that I am interested in. And I do find history interesting, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's not really something that I'm seeking out by myself to read, like, a history book. That's just not, it's not who I am. I am a fiction reader for sure. Oh, The Wager is another one. Oh, it's already on my want to read, so look at that. But yeah, once again, like, I don't own any of these books and I'm not at all surprised that I don't. And then humor, honestly, is a category that I may as well not even click on because I know that I have not read any of the books categorized under humor. But we can look through them regardless and just confirm that yeah, I have not read any of these. So that's that. Okay, so now that we have been through the nominees from all of the categories and determined the 13 books out of those that I actually do own, I thought what I would do is, just for the sake of organizing, I put these into 3 piles. So the first of those is sort of like the horror/thriller general pile. Then we have sort of like the fantasy general pile, and then we have the romance. Now, I thought that I would just like pick a couple from each pile because I don't want to be too ambitious. I'm definitely not reading 13 books realistically by the end of the year, especially with the other stuff that I have on my own plans to read. But I think that based on the length of some of these, I could maybe get through like 6 or 7 of them. So starting with the romance pile. It does really kind of tickle me that they're all pink. I think that that's fun. So I'm not sure, honestly, about these because romance can be really hit or miss for me. Like, normally I enjoy it and I have a fun time, but I don't necessarily always love it. And it's hard to tell where that difference is going to come in on whether I just like something or whether I love it. And I think the one that I'm the most confident about is Wildfire by Hannah Grace, just because I really did love Icebreaker. And while I liked the concept that was laid out in the synopsis, I didn't know that it was going to deal with some heavier topics, and I thought that she actually did it well. And so I think that Wildfire sounds really fun, and just based on the way that she has written relationships in the past, I think that this would be a hit for me. So I'm going to keep this one. And then the other one I'm gonna keep from, see, right now, I am taking Meet Me at the Lake away because I don't think, I'm more between Happy Place and Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. But even though it's longer, I think I'm leaning towards Happy Place. And the reason for that is because I'm honestly pretty sure that the Emily Henry is going to win the category. And I think I would just like to finally, for once in my life, read like one of the most popular books at a given time and just see like what the hype's about. And I know that this one has had a little bit of polarizing reactions, but I'm leaning towards this one. So I think this is what I'm going to keep. But if you see me reading Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, we didn't have this conversation. Okay, next up we have the just general kind of fantasy category here. And to be honest, right off the bat, I'm looking at this and I think I'm going to axe The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi just because it's a little bit more classic fantasy than the others and it's a little longer. I've already read 3 books from S.A. Chakraborty this year, and despite the fact that I have loved them, I think that this can wait for the new year. I think that that's fine, and I'm fine with that, just because I don't know if I'm as much in the mood for this as I am for some of the cozier stories that I have in here. Please excuse me while I take the stickers off of Bookshops and Bone Dust, because I don't know what happened. Despite my hatred for stickers, the one thing I will say about Indigo's stickers is that they do come off easily, so at least there's that. Now, if I'm reviewing what's left in this stack, we have Bookshops and Bone Dust, Starling House, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and Divine Rivals. And what I'm thinking here is that I'm going to keep all 3 of them except for Starling House. And the reason for that, honestly, is because, for one, I think that Bookshops and Bone Dust, Encyclopedia of Fairies, and Divine Rivals all kind of give me cozier vibes, but also I'm just a little bit scared to read my next Alex E. Harrow. And maybe it's unfair because I do think that this is going to be completely different from A Spindle Splintered, but I'm nervous, so I think I'm gonna wait a little bit on this one, and I think that I'm gonna keep these 3 and just really sink into like the cozy vibes. Even though they don't have Christmas vibes, I do absolutely associate like the lead up to the Christmas season with coziness. I feel like what I have so far is like that meme of those houses where one of them is pink and purple and the other one is like, I'm black, I'm emo, my soul is black, don't talk to me. Then finally, we have sort of like the horror thriller pile here. So that's what this looks like. We have Dead 11, Silver Nitrate, Vampires of El Norte, and All the Sinners Bleed. And this is a trickier one for me because I don't really know what I feel like when it comes to the horror. But what I'm thinking here is I definitely want to keep Vampires of El Norte because after loving The Hacienda, I want to read Isabel Cañas's next book, and I've heard that this is also really good, that people are loving it, and so I think I'm the most excited about this one out of the whole pile. And then after that, I honestly don't really know. I think that right now in my heart, I'm choosing between Silver Nitrate and All the Sinners Bleed. However, I do know that All the Sinners Bleed also has like religious small town vibes, and I feel like I've been consuming a lot of media with that trope lately, and it's good. Like, I enjoy it, but I'm thinking of maybe something a little different. I'm thinking that maybe I'll go with Silver Nitrate and see what I think about that, because this one just sounds very like creepy, spooky, but also just different from anything I've ever read, like the fact that it's about the film industry, and I don't think it's that long. Yeah, it's only just over 300 pages, so that's not too bad. So I think that I'm going to keep Vampires of El Norte and Silver Nitrate for the TBR, and I will put away Dead 11 and All the Sinners Bleed. Okay, so even though the pile is not nearly as aesthetically pleasing when you like mix all the genre colors together, I just can't stand having like a hardcover that's bigger on top of a paperback in the pile. I need to have like the solid base of the hardcovers. So these are the books that I am going to attempt to read that are Goodreads Choice Award nominees. Now, I'm doing this purely based on my own vibes. This is not, except for the exception of maybe Happy Place, this is not me trying to predict what will win. This is purely just me, like, picking the books that I personally am most excited to read out of the ones that got nominations. So, let me know what you think of this pile. And I don't know when exactly I'm gonna get started on this, hopefully soon, but maybe I'll try and vlog it. That might be a little bit ambitious. I think that I can definitely do a wrap-up video at the end though, and see what happens in like the second round of the nominations, and maybe just like circle back and see what I want to do. And I'm really excited to read all of these. So thanks for sticking around with me while I went through the nominees and built my TBR. And let me know what you think of these books if you've read them, and let me know if you think I made any wrong decisions, if you think that there's a book that I set aside that I really should read instead. I can't promise that I will do that, but I will definitely take your opinion into account. So with that said, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like if you liked it, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. As always, I will have my Discord with Ben and socials linked in the description if you're interested in any of that stuff. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!